let's get right into it. Okay, this brand right here. I'm not sure what the brand is. I picked these up at my local range, and they come in big plastic bags, and they sell for about $15 for 5 or 6 of them. But I see these all over the place. So you might have seen these in your own range or gun store, certainly all over online. They go under various names and brands, and people sell them all over the place. These are okay. You know what these are good for? They're bright orange, okay? And they're good for teaching somebody how to load their magazine. They're good for training. Let's say if you're training police departments or training security guards. These are good because you can clearly see immediately that it's a practice round. You can clearly tell that it's not real ammunition. So very bright colored, very easy to use, or very easy to see. You're not going to mistake it with live ammo. And again, it's good for learning how to load your magazine. Somebody who has no firearm experience at all, or especially children, this is good to use. Teaching children how to load magazines and cycle their guns and everything. So, but that's about the extent of it. I would not use these to dry fire. Okay, read that loud and clear. In terms of dry firing, which is the main reason why I bought snap caps, so long ago for myself, was just because of dry fire practice. All right, now the reason why I say these are not good for dry firing, let me just get my pointer here. Let's move these out of the way so I can just focus on one at a time here. Okay, the brass, this is basically just to tell you about the construction too. This is a brass rim, and they put, it's some kind of a polymer or resin that they fill it in, and it's a decent size. I mean, it fits in terms of size. It's pretty true to original size. In what the caliber would be, which in this case is a 9mm. Now the brass case is not that great. Okay, so whatever they make this brass case out of, it's not real good quality brass, and the pieces chip off. So the more you cycle this, the more you dry fire it, little pieces of brass chip off and get into your gun. I don't like that. All right. In addition to the brass chipping off on these particular snap caps, the resin. Okay, you can't see it here because these I've already, peeled off and stuff, but these resin, as you're using these, as you're cycling them and as you're dry firing them, little threads of resin will peel off, both from the outside here and also from in here. So in addition to pieces of brass flaking off into your gun, you're also going to get resin flaking off into your gun. Alright, now that stuff can find itself anywhere. Of course you're going to clean your gun out and all that stuff, but I just don't know, I don't like the fact of knowing that these little foreign debris are getting all over the inside of my gun. I just don't like it. So again, if you're going to be using this strictly for teaching somebody how to load their magazines and cycle their gun, that's not bad. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Again, you got a bonus because they are, nice colored and you can clearly see them. So, but that's it. Okay, let's move on to another brand here. This is one of the most popular brands. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere. Okay, A-Zoom. Packmeyer. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is where the original term snap cap came from, because their particular brand name is snap cap. Okay, so it's made by Packmeyer. I'm not sure why there's 3 different names, but it's Packmeyer, A-Zoom, and their snap caps. Okay, this is hands down the worst snap caps I've ever seen in my entire life. Guys, these ones right here, these are the ones that I've had hundreds of at one point in time. I had these in every single caliber. And after extensively using them, I will never ever use them again. In fact, the only reason why I even have these still around was only for this video. Alright, I've thrown so many of these away before I got the idea to do YouTube videos. So I wish I saved all the ones I threw out, if nothing more, but just to show you guys the damage. But why do I say that these are the absolute junkiest, worst snap caps that were ever created? Okay, just a total sham. Everything about them is garbage. First of all, it's aluminum. Okay, so the funny thing is the company actually advertises that as a bonus. You'll notice on the covers when you buy these things, it's real big letters, CNC machined aluminum to exact tolerances, blah, 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 blah. Junk, guys. Total garbage. Okay? Here's why. It being aluminum, it breaks apart very easily. Okay, so these ones here, I think these are junk all the way around. They're junk for cycling. They're junk for, even just using these to cycle your gun or to teach somebody how to load a magazine. they're going to break apart. But then on top of that, if you think you're going to dry fire a lot with these, no. Okay, these are the worst. Here's what happens. Let me just show you on this 9mm. Alright, so in addition to this part of the rim breaking up, okay, so every time you cycle one of these, little pieces of aluminum will break off from the rim, you know, little shards of aluminum. And also, guys, again, these are like the newest ones. You know, after these probably have had at the most maybe anywhere from 50 to 200 dry fires on these at the most. Alright, so I've had them in way worse condition than this. But see this rim up here? This rim, again, because it's aluminum, it sets back. So every time you cycle this and it slams against the inside steel of the chamber, it's going to set back a little bit. Now, two things happen with this. One thing is the rim bulges. So it's a little hard to see on camera, and even in real life it's hard to see, but of course when you're talking about a precision made firearm, you're going to notice when it doesn't sit in there properly. So what happens is, as this set back, and guys, this happens within the first 10 to 20 cyclings. I mean, this is not something that happens after hundreds of times of dry firing. This happens after the first few times that you start cycling it and dry firing with it. Alright, so as this sets back, it creates a bulge. Now, when you load it into your gun and you go to, you know, pull it out or rack the slide, it's going to be stuck in the chamber. So then what happens? Either the extractor pulls this and then nothing happens, it doesn't get unlocked, so the extractor just yanks a piece of the rim off, or it yanks it out of your chamber, and then what happens is, do you see this? And this is exactly what happened with this one. Where do you think the top part of this rim went? It's not supposed to be that color, it's supposed to be red. What happens is it gets stuck in your chamber. This is why I say that some of these brands out there, if you heard my other video when I was leading into this video, why I said that they're dangerous for your gun. Alright, these little pieces of aluminum, and it doesn't just happen one time, and it's not easy to see. Sometimes it's very hard to see. Sometimes it'll be a quarter of this rim, sometimes it'll be a half of this rim, sometimes it'll be the full piece of this rim. But what happens is, from yanking it out because it got stuck, because it, you know, set back and was bulging, when you look into the barrel of your into the chamber of your barrel, you'll see these little pieces of aluminum from this rim. Now, it's not easy to get out, guys. This is the problem. I'll just show you this barrel because there's something else I wanted to show you anyway. This is clear. There's nothing in there. Okay, so, but what I wanted to show you is, when they get inside there, it's hard to get out. It doesn't just come out. You can't just tap your barrel like that and it comes out. Okay, those little pieces, those little aluminum rims, they get stuck inside there, and sometimes you can't even get it out with a brush. There's plenty of times that I ran a brush through there, and I'm talking about a bore brush, and nothing came out, where I had to actually go in there with something like this pick and actually dig it out. Now, what the problem is, what if I didn't know that? What about all the people out there who are using these things and who have a piece of aluminum stuck in their chamber and they don't even know it? Okay, so that's the danger with those. While I have this barrel out, another thing I wanted to show you is, this is my Glock barrel, and I went ahead and I put a snap cap in there, and I put it, I guess, about 50 times. Okay, so it was no more than 50 dry fires, and the one that I used was one of these. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. Okay, I want you guys to see all this debris, all that brass debris. Okay, so this is what I mean when I say that the brass chips off and leaves a bunch of debris. This is what we're talking about. Guys, this is only from about 50 dry fires. This barrel was clean as a whistle, clean, black, nothing on it at all. I put one in, fired it 50 times, dry fire, and then this is what you get. Now, you know, you're looking at it on camera, you might be thinking, so what, that's not a big deal. And you're right, it's really not a big deal. Okay, but it's just something to think about. I mean, you get all these flaky pieces. Now, that's after about 50 dry fires. What if you dry fired 100 times, 200 times? Because you know what, guys, you know, it only takes, I don't know, a minute or two to dry fire 50 times, you know, so you could be dry firing, practicing, and easily dry fire a couple hundred times within a few minutes. And so multiply that by, you know, a couple times. Anyway, not that big of a deal on the barrel, but I just wanted to show you what I mean about the brass chipping off. But then let's look on the inside of the gun, and I hope you guys can get a real good view of this. I didn't clean this out. Obviously, I wanted to show you. Okay, this is, again, there's a good view. This is after only 50 dry fires. Do you guys see all these shards in here? Okay. Look at all these shards. You know what? Let me get my barrel light. I really want you guys to see this. Okay. Look at all these shards of aluminum in there. Oh, I'm sorry, brass. Okay, so this is from, let me just put this here just so you guys, okay, know which one it's from. Now, they all do this, some more than others. This particular style of snap cap right here is one of the worst. Again, if you see all these shards of brass in there, all in there, that's after just 50 dry fires. Okay, now, here's the thing. Is it a real big deal? No, I'm sure this Glock will fire just fine. Okay, I could, load it up and I'm sure it would fire just fine. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, this particular one I just picked up, let me just show you this real quick. This is another thing I'm talking about. Can you guys see on camera? Hopefully you can see that. Can you see this little piece right here of, this happens to be resin. Okay. I know this is getting to be a longer video here, but I want to give the camera time to focus and stuff so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay. See that piece of resin right there sticking out? I know you can see it. Well, what happens is these little pieces of resin, in addition to the pieces of brass that you just saw, all this stuff is breaking off and going into your gun. Alright, why is this not good? And hey, why am I, wanted to show you guys this? It's because it's not necessary, guys. If these companies would get it right and just make a decent material that, maybe Glock should start making snap caps using the polymer that they use for their gun. Come on, man. If they just made these snap caps out of the same polymer that they made the guns with, I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem. So I'm only pointing this out because, these companies can do way. I don't mind. Listen, I wouldn't even mind spending $20, $30, whatever it costs. I'd spend $30 on a set of decent snap caps as long as they didn't do this kind of stuff. These little pieces of brass and aluminum and whatever else going inside your gun. I just happened to notice that, but let me just show you one more inside shot. So you get all these shards of brass going in there, going into the action. All these little pieces of brass. You guys see all this? Every little piece of debris that you're seeing in here now is all from the snap caps. As you can see from the rails, this gun was clean as a whistle. This one is my Glock 19. I've been carrying it for a few days, so I, specifically keep it clean, because I have been carrying it. And there was nothing in here. I put those snap caps in, dry fired it about 50 times, and now you got all this debris. Okay? That's what I mean about junk. There's no reason. If they just make it out of better material, one other thing I'll show you here is, let's look at inside here and see if I can, hopefully you guys can see this. But in here as well, see if I could just get the camera to focus a little bit. It may not be as clear for you. There it is. That's a pretty good shot. Okay, again, this is just from a few dry fires, guys. So everything you're seeing in the frame and the barrel that I just showed you and right here, this is all just from about 50 dry fires. It was actually under 50. I didn't count, but I don't even think it was 50. I just dry fired it a few times just to show you, what happens. So in addition to the barrel, in addition to, the frame and inside the action, you're also going to get brass pieces all in here. And then underneath of your ejector, it's not a good thing to have if you got little pieces of brass stuck all underneath the ejector. Okay, so again, you can imagine if you really dry fired a lot. Here you can really see all the brass again. Just to let this focus in. There's all the brass pieces. Why is this a problem? Again, guys, it's not necessary. They could make better material. Somebody out there can make us a better snap cap. Now, what do I recommend? Now that you saw the problem with these A-zooms, Total junk. I'd rather use anything than A-zooms. Total garbage. These ones right here, let's just get into Tipton real quick. These are awesome. These are the only ones I use nowadays. Okay, these Tipton snap caps, write it down, guys. And these could be a little bit better. I'm going to show you how, but these are the best. Let me give you a good view. If you're going to get snap caps, don't waste your time with the other ones I just showed you. Just get these. Alright, here you go. Glory to America, consumer review. Tipton ought to be paying me for this kind of review, but I'm just being honest. I mean, look, it is what it is. This is what consumer reviews are about. Alright, so let's get right into it. A couple things. As you can see, the case is made out of, I guess, what is it? I don't know, plastic, polymer, nylon, whatever it is, but I'm just going to call it plastic. So obviously you're not going to have the problem of the, aluminum or any material or setback or any of that, okay, like you would have with the A-zooms. Okay, it being plastic, it's not going to give, it's not going to set back, it's not going to bend. Eventually it might break. Okay, so the thing is with these is they're only guaranteed for a certain amount of rounds. I don't know how many dry fires or how many chamberings. It might be like 1,000 or so. But, they have a guarantee, and it's only for whatever that number is. And eventually this could crack. No problem. I would rather have this crack and then not be able to use it rather than a slow death. Okay, like these snap caps where they're just slowly breaking apart. Okay, so with this one here, it's just going to work until it breaks, which is awesome. Now the brass that this brand Tipton uses is much better than all the other brasses. It's much better than this one, and it's much better than the A-Zoom. Okay, their brass does not break apart as much. It still does a little bit. Okay, it's not quite as good as actual brass. And this is the part that blows my mind. I don't understand why these companies that make snap caps, why don't they just make them out of the same brass, even if it was nickel plated, but you make it out of the same kind of case that a live round is made out of, because it just seems like live round cases are just so much higher quality. I don't know why they don't just do it. But anyway, that's the only place where it could be better. Other than that, this snap cap is close to perfect. Okay, so the brass is much better. Again, just to say it one more time, the brass casing on this is far better than all the other brands. But even this one could be better. Okay, but it's still the best. Now, another thing that's cool is that, as you can see, when you use it, it leaves an indent on the brass. So you can see exactly where your firing pin's hitting. This is helpful, guys, because you want to know if your firing pin is hitting off center, is it hitting in the center, is it hitting light, is it hitting heavy. So this snap cap will give you a lot of information about your firing pin. Alright, these aren't. This is not going to tell you what your firing pin, where it's hitting, where it's not hitting. You'll get a little indents on this kind, but it takes a long time, and it doesn't really let you know if you're getting light strikes or not. Alright, with the A-Zoom, you get little to no information whatsoever about the firing pin. So, yet another reason why I really love this Tipton brand. Okay, so from the very first dry fire, you could just take this out brand new. Let me see if I can find a brand new one. Here you go. You can take a brand new one like this, and the very first time you dry fire, you'll see where your firing pin hit. Okay, that's valuable information to me. Alright, so I love it for that. And even after you dry fire it extensively, let me see one that I've used a lot. Here you go, this 380 right here. I use this one a lot. As you can see, this has probably got, I don't know, this has probably got around 1,000 dry fires on it. Even after 1,000 dry fires, it's still in perfect working condition. I mean, it's not like, here you go. This is, it's not anywhere near a deep hole. It's about, after 1,000 dry fires, this looks like what a normal primer would look like of a 380 after being fired. So it's still usable. In fact, there's nothing wrong with it. So just, so you can see. Pretty neat. A lot of information. One other thing you might notice with these is the spring in the middle. That's pretty neat. That's what I mean. This company, made in Italy too, by the way, so hats off to all my Italian friends. You gotta love Italy, guys. It's just something about, Italy, man. Things that are made in Italy, they really put quality and effort into their workmanship. So awesome stuff. But the spring in the middle, this, primer, I'm going to call it a primer, you know, whatever you want to call it, but the centerpiece here, of course it's not a real primer, right, but where the primer should be, it's actually spring loaded. Check this out. Now, I don't want you guys to think this is not hard or not easy to do. This, you have to apply quite a bit of pressure. I mean, this doesn't just drop down. You got to really push that baby hard. You know, let me try the 380 here. Okay, but you got to really apply some pressure. That's not very easy to move, but that's just incredible, guys. I mean, come on, nobody else thought about that. This is just a basic dummy round. Same thing with this one. So with this, you know, again, with this brand, highly recommended. Everything about it I love. I love how the case is plastic. Remember, you want plastic casing or polymer or resin, but you want it like that because you don't want the rim to be able to break apart. Okay, so the plastic case is good. It's a good thing. You don't want aluminum. And, you know, of course, the brass base here. But this is the coolest part, is that it actually gives you play. So if you got a real strong firing pin, you know, why is that good to have? If you have a really, really strong firing pin, or I'm sorry, if you have a strong hammer spring and your firing pin is hitting real hard, you don't want it to hit, you know, something like this and just stop dead, because that's not what happens in a live round. In a live round, it's going to go into the primer. So this is the most like a real firing. Okay, so when you're using this one, your gun is gonna think it's a live round. That's what it comes down to. Okay, other than the explosion happening, this is most like a live round. Okay, so that's it, guys. I can't really think, you know, this was a little bit long of a video, but I hope you appreciated it. I really wanted to make sure you understood exactly why I like the ones I like and why I don't like the ones I don't like. And, you know, I made some pretty big statements here about some of these companies, so again, I just wanted to make sure I did my job and explain thoroughly exactly, you know, why I like them and why these other ones are garbage. Okay? I'm just trying to think if I forgot to say anything. I think that's about it. Oh, the only other thing I was going to tell you is how to make your own snap cap. What you can do, and guys, listen, this is not for training new people. It's not for if you're training like a police department or anything like that. But what I'm about to tell you is more for, you know, if you're a shooter and you got your own workshop at home and you like doing things on your own, and there's no possibility that somebody's going to come in and mix them up with live ammo. Again, this is just a suggestion. You know, I know you guys are going to tell me that that's probably not the safest thing and blah, blah, blah. But again, I'm just giving you an option. It's just an opinion. I already told you these are the ones I like the best and I use them. But another option would be you can take, and especially anybody who reloads their own guns, or reloads their own ammo, I'm sorry. But you can take a case, a real case, because they're the best to use anyway. It's going to give you the most amount of mileage. But you can take a spent shell casing or a brand new one, and then you can fill it in with some kind of welding, like JB Weld. Anybody out there who knows what JB Weld is, or you can use an epoxy. So you can take a real case of, let's say, 9mm, fill it in with epoxy or fill it in with JB Weld, and voila, there you go. Now you got your own snap cap. Now that would work better than probably all these, except for, again, with the tip tin, I like the fact that it's got the spring-loaded primer. So, you know, you're not going to, doing it the way I just told you, you're not going to get that spring-loaded primer set up. However, by taking a real case and filling it in with JB Weld or epoxy, it's going to definitely be better than this, and it's going to definitely be better than this. Okay? Just to recap, keep in mind that if your only purpose is to teach somebody how to cycle their gun and load their magazines, all these are fine. Except, again, the A-Zoom. I wouldn't even use the A-Zooms for teaching somebody how to cycle their gun because of what we talked about. Because of the setback, because of the bulging on the rim, because of the possibility that it's going to get stuck and little pieces of aluminum are going to get stuck inside their chamber. So I wouldn't even use these for teaching somebody how to load a magazine and cycle their gun. Total garbage. Never reason to buy them. Sorry, Packmeyer. 2 thumbs down. These are okay for training, and these are good for dry firing. Other than that, make your own. It's fun, and you'll be happy with it. That's it, guys. Glory to America. Comment. Let me know if that helped. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what your experiences are with snap caps. And hey, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more consumer reviews and things like that. Check out my other videos. Catch you guys. Have a good one.